Hello and welcome to this week's transits, our astrology transits per day for a week. Kind of slows it down. It all gets a little boobly boobly when there's too much. So we're taking this one day at a time, a week at a time. So what we got this week, we're just coming into some interesting times. A little stormy weather coming up this month, and I'll talk a little bit about that. But let's talk about our moons for this week. We come into this week. Well, let me go back an hour, a couple hours. We're late in the day now. Let's see, it was this morning, but let me just go back. All right. So we started the week actually, because I record on Tuesdays. So we started with the weekend Taurus. So Taurus is very interesting. It's kind of like you have that undercurrent of not wanting to rush, not wanting to hurry. But also, I think the biggest thing in this sign, when we have the moon in here, is that we tend to resist change when the moon is in Taurus, especially change not of our own making. Whoo, boy, this is, when you really look at that one can be very interesting. So that's the kind of that it's a sweet moon. It could be, it's appreciate beauty, watching a sunset, taking care of money matters. That's all, Taurus moon. But then we get a little bit more excitement when we move into the next sign. And let me just do that. So we'll just go back a day. Okay, so the moon, well, let me move it up forward. There we go. All right, we just a little bit, we can see that here it's moved into Gemini, and I like it to be up around the top of the chart so you can see it a little bit better. All right, well, moon in Gemini definitely, it picks up. It's, a mutable sign, it's an air sign. It's different for the moon because the moon, is likes to be a little slower, a little more calm, but it's like more restless. It's suddenly you're maybe more in the mood for short, conversations, for puzzles, for investigating, for information, for feeling it. We want, two of everything. It's also good for writing, phone calls, text, getting back with your messages. It's real busy. It's a busy moon. So sometimes we get a little bit scattered under that moon. And then it's also fun, but also Gemini can be fickle because it's so fast moving. So watch this energy here. Also, the moon then moves into Cancer, and that's cardinal water sign. It's nurturing, feminine, more concerned with home or family or children or mothers. And we might like to express our emotions more when we're there, and that's the moon's own sign. And I want to look at the United States chart also with this in mind, because that's where our new moon is this month. But we'll see that in a little bit. But anyway, this is nice to have that more domestic, maternal time. Yeah, let's just put it that way. Then the moon moves into Leo. It moves into that fiery need for attention, love the play, wants the recognition, wants to be applauded and recognized. And this is definitely overreactive kind of energy. So this is the moon of this week. And we know that each sign kind of flip-flops. It's almost opposite of the one before on a lot of different levels. So we start with that secure Taurus, and then we get this, it gets so secure and thick and not moving that it just has to burst and expand and get that Gemini energy. Then it gets so crazy and scattered and frayed and frazzled, it just has to go home and just kind of calm down and chill. And then it kind of gets back to being chill and lazy, kind of, and then it bursts back into being Leo, that outward expression. So that's the kind of the moon energy that we have when we move into this week. All right, but we have some interesting things, and I want to just kind of hit the whole overall And then I'll zoom in on the days, just to give you a little kind of jump in, because like when we jump into this to the week, it's like, oh my goodness. Big day, but all in all, our theme now for the next little while is going to be slow. A lot of things are going to be, the outer planets are all getting retrograde now. So in retrograde, whenever their planets are retrograde, they're closer to the Earth and they're strong and they're slow moving. If we look at these, which we will, they haven't moved out of a certain area for a long time. And look at what we're going to start with today with Neptune at 29 degrees. We can see it stationing. So tomorrow or later today here, it goes to 56 minutes and then it retrogrades. So we're going to feel like things aren't moving forward very fast. That can kind of suck. And, the outer planets, they're retrograde for months. I think Neptune and Pluto might be like 5 months, ish. One's 5.5, one's almost 5, Neptune. But anyway, maybe we need to, as always, understand, not move forward so fast, especially with a lot now moving, with Jupiter moving into Gemini, that will go retrograde too. But it'll kind of get us to maybe look at things a little bit, not just rush forward. So that's what's going to be coming up. But this can be very intense, and I wanted to focus a little bit on it. We see Pluto down at the bottom of the chart here in Aquarius. It's retrograde, and Pluto is going to move. It's going to move back into Capricorn on September 2nd. So it's steadily moving back into that old, the old structure, the old regimented how things were. It's structure. It's the big machine. It's the autocracy. It's the plutocracy. It's it's the old regimen. It's what we're moving so quickly away from, but we can't throw the baby out with the bathwater. We have to have structure, but we have to have good structure. It's gone awry. It's gone, it's rotted at the roots. But it's still holding up, it's like a vine growing up a wooden trellis and the bottom rots out. It's still supported by the vine, the trellis, but it's rotted at the bottom and it will eventually crumble. So that's kind of like where we're at. So we're going to have to get down and restructure things, that's going to have to be reinforced. But this is part of how this is all going to unfold. So Pluto's there. Neptune goes retrograde today. And this is very interesting. And we've talked about this and we'll just continue to talk about it because this is very interesting. The last time that Neptune was in Aries was when we had more, or I should put it this way. Every time Neptune is in Aries, there is more world type war, more players on the planet are involved in negative war things. Maybe we can restructure. I don't really think so. I mean, but there's always hopefully a higher guiding hand. There is all this tension, and it's being exacerbated. It's not a loving plan. But maybe with awareness, with knowledge comes awareness, and change can be made to avoid this. But this is I'm not looking forward to Neptune moving into Aries personally. And then it moves right in there with Saturn. So I don't know, maybe Saturn might have some positive discipline. It's like you have to discipline a 2-year-old. You have to teach, children certain rules at certain ages, otherwise things get out of hand. So this is kind of like where we're coming back with some of this types of energy. And then we'll have Uranus that will go retrograde on September 3rd. So we have Pluto moving into Capricorn on September 2nd, and then Uranus goes retrograde the next day. So that's going to be kind of a big thing. We may have something to contend with more so than what we want at the beginning of September. Jupiter goes retrograde in October, on the 10th of October. And that will maybe take the gas pedal off moving forward so fast. It's going to go all the way to 21 degrees, I think, Gemini, and then it'll retrograde there. Pluto goes direct on the 13th of October. It will be at 29 Capricorn and some change, 38 minutes. But that's, see, look, this is like all again getting closer to the election in the United States, which there's so much pushing on that. I think it's a huge distraction on one level. There's so many other things going around the world. But anyway, it's a poignant time. Let's just put it that way. What else we got? So those are the big ones. I just wanted to mention those, so we'll have all of that happening, as well as, some, Mercury will go retrograde on August 5th. So we're at the end of summer here, right into the beginning. See, it will retrograde, let's see, yeah, on the 5th, and then it goes direct on the 26th. And it starts out, see, it retrogrades at 4 degrees Virgo, and then it retrogrades all the way back into Leo. So it's going to move into its shadow at 21 Leo, like around the 16th of this month. So we're going to see it, you can see up there that Mercury is already in Leo. So around the middle of this month, it's going to move into where it's going to have to cover the grounds again. So right around the middle of this month, kind of make a little mental note of whatever is going on that is going to have to repeat when it has to, after it goes forward again in August, it's going to have to cover that time that it's kind of in now, coming into now. So this is very interesting. Again, a lot of slowdown. This is kind of, it's typical, but it's like where it's at and how it is very interesting. So today, I think that's one of the big things is Neptune stations and then turns retrograde. We have the moon also that went into Gemini. What else do I have here for you? And then there it is. Mercury, whenever, we have things going at the 29 degrees and the 0, 1 degree, we should have a little bell going off in our head, because those are some poignant spots right now. Neptune is just hanging tight at that 29 degrees. Pluto's just hanging at that 1, and pretty soon it'll be 0. So Mercury, right at the end of Cancer, it had one aspect, but then now it's trining over to Neptune. See, it's in, well, it was when it was in Cancer, right? Okay, so just a few minutes ago, or however you want to say it, before Mercury changed signs, it gave that trine over to Neptune, and that will be, kind of the first of 3 hits that it will make with that. But Mercury in Leo, it wants to express, Mercury express what we're feeling and thinking and turn it into action. Leo, right? We want our words, Mercury, to have some power and effect. Leo, we are on stage and want power in our words. When we speak with someone, we want our words to take, we want them to hear us and to, act based on some of the things we say. This is, a good time for learning motivational speaking, maybe. But anyway, we have that as it moves into Leo, moving out of, that inward Cancer home into now outward. Mercury's going more outward. And, it kind of dovetails with, the mercurial sign that Jupiter is in, right? It's in Gemini. So it's fast moving, let's put it that way. All right, so that's kind of a big deal. And then we'll see as we move on to the next day that Mercury is coming into the opposition. Well, it's moving so fast. All right, I'll just leave it here. No, I want to move it the next day for you. You can see how fast it moved in one day. It's moved 2 degrees now. But see, on Wednesday, tomorrow, it will oppose. It'll oppose. Oh crap! I didn't want to do that. Sorry. What happened here? Bear with me. new controls. Okay. All right. So Mercury will oppose Pluto. So that's like confronting deep energy, dominance, power struggles, um, hidden unconscious, things coming up from our unconscious that were hidden are coming out into the open. So this, I mean, well, look, we had the whole WikiLeaks data dump. If you don't know about that, it's out now. All of that information is out, and I was looking at some of that, which is very, very interesting. So yeah, it's anytime something is going on like that, you have the ingress, things start to come in and then it continues. So it's, it's like when you hear a siren, you hear it a long ways away before it really is right there at you. And then you hear it after it passes you. So that is an aspect. And, Mercury has been coming closer to Pluto there, feeling that depth. And now it can speak about it, but um, this is where we can, as a group of people, like not allow certain things to happen. We can speak out about things. We can put some power into that, and that's the good side of that. Also, the negative side would be maybe speaking too many deep things to people that aren't ready for it, that don't have the brain cells, they're not up to speed on certain areas, they're not where you are. So keep that in mind, like that somebody else, sensitivity of where they can receive information. All right, then we got the moon getting involved in here. It's going to, where is it? It's going to trine over to Pluto this day. We got the air to air. And then we also have it's like a real dynamic kind of energy. We've got that air outward uh, depth. This is interesting. It's kind of like a bat out of hell, kind of, it's like that it's going and flitting in there and then it's coming back out with that information. Look, I saw this was going on, blah blah blah, you won't believe it. So that kind of an energy, what's coming on with that. All right, there's a lot involved. Mercury, we already said that. Over there. We already said that one. Oh, and then Venus is at, the day before. Let's just go back because it's moving there too. So starting today, we also have a trine with Venus and Saturn. See, we got 19 degrees, water sign. Well, it's a more stable and grounding kind of energy, with the Saturn and Venus is in a nice aspect with it. It can, it's real and we can rely on compassion. What we don't say sometimes is kinder than speaking it. So that might be good to keep in mind right now. It's like not outwardly experienced. It's more loving and kind and caring. And kind of bringing in the kind in a structured way also. It's like, this is for your own good. This is for your highest good. This is because I'm concerned about you. This is because it's the right thing to do. Right here, this energy. All right, so a lot going on today. I mean, we get into a lot of things at one time. Now, we'll talk about that in a second. Hope I don't forget this, but we can see Mars here. This is intense. We see Mars in Taurus closing in on Uranus. So we'll this is like a lightning strike, and we'll get there. But I just want to just point that out because there's several things, even though they're slowing down, we still have a lot of release buttons, pressure release things coming up, which we need to watch out for. That's next week, I think it's like the 15th that happens, but we'll get there. Okay. Yeah, I have a note here. Let me just say it now. It's like a bolt of lightning. It's like, a lightning strike. It could be physical and it releases built up tension. So this is coming. Could be on the inner level, could be on the outer level. I would tend to lay low that day, those 2 days, probably like the 15th and the 16th. Just kind of chill on that day. And then what do we have? On the second, okay, we showed that. So we got Venus moving there. Let's see, a lot of this just kind of blends from one to another. We also have Mercury making a square and a half over to Saturn. We don't get into a lot of those odd angles, but this is, we've got a kind of a hard thing to mix. This is it's sort of a quincunxy energy, but you see 135 to 150, it's like that 15 degrees difference. But that's still yucky either way, quincunx or that 135, the square and a half. So it's like a resistance, so we got like a resistance, or it could be a reality check. Um, how do we say? We don't get away with what we want to really say, I think. I think a lot of times it's some cognition of things comes out, but maybe we don't know quite how to say it to the people we need to say it to. It's like bumping up against authority. Yeah, this coming in, it's irritating, authority, Saturn, but it's in dissolving Pisces. So, this goes one way, then another and another. So it can be a little foggy, misty. So just to keep your sense, and again, we always should watch what we say when things aren't real thought out. All right, what else here? We have, well, we're coming up to a new moon. You could see here that the moon is closing in here on is it on the 4th? Yeah, it might be later in the day. Let me go hours here. It should be like 14. Should be right about 14 degrees. Let's get it there. It's almost there. And oh, it's a 5th. Okay. Yeah, it did pass there. I wasn't sure. I didn't write it down. And there it is. There it is. Awesome. It's on Friday the 5th. So, well, it's a good new time to have nurturing family, creating new patterns in family. And then with Venus there, it kind of adds a little nicety to it, that Venusian caring, maybe. It's like, we have some of these hard lessons that are out there, but sometimes we don't really want to do things by force. You really do. It's just much nicer to use as much niceties as you can. But yet we still have the sternness in place. We still have things that are solid. We still have this little bit of this new rebellion coming in. So it's a bit funny, a bit weird of a bag here. What else do we have? And we got Mars. Look, here we go. It's closing in. It's getting closer. It's another 2 degrees here. When Mars gets closer, it's getting a nice sextile over here to Saturn. We got the malefics, but they're making a nice little conversation, a nice talk. It's like action, and then we have Saturn authority, rules and law, learning, maybe leaning on, how would I say it? Action, action to maybe understand something, because, we have that dissolving kind of Saturn energy when it's in Pisces, and we have, Mars isn't in its favorite place there either, but it's sort of like having to, have a much more feminine approach to something because they're in earth and water signs. So it's a softer contact, which is nice. I like, of all of Mars, Saturn kind of, the trine and the sextile make it a lot better. What else do I have here? And it's like Friday, it's like the self-restraint of saying, we were talking about, like, maybe holding back what you really want to say at the moment. The self-restraint does pay off. We get with Mars getting closer to Saturn, we get a sense of getting there in a determined forward kind of way. Things become less stable, something has to happen, so that's kind of it's it's got a nice little kick from Saturn, but then as it gets closer to this instability, it's sort of like there's at least some kind of an awareness of this instability. If you're listening to this, you'll have heard this, and maybe make a mental note about this kind of flagrant reaction coming. This is a sort of big deal. Mars is like every 2 years orbit, and it passes this, but it's passing it here in Earth signs. I also am concerned that there would be earthquake activity or mudslide. Here's you got your Earth. When Mars, fastly moving, aggressive energy, and then you have sudden, and then you have an Earth sign like Taurus, that just kind of reeks of Earth activities. So that's one thing. Okay. Let's keep going. Actually, I wanted to just look back at the 4th a second. So this is I'm gonna, actually, you know what I'm gonna do? I want to give you another share. I think I have this here. Hold on. All right, let me see if I have this other chart. Bear with me. Let's do a bi-wheel. We have United States and then the transits. All right, and let me get you over here. I think I got you over here. Let's share this new animation. All right. Inner chart is the United States. This is the chart of the United States. I have it at a 5:10 p.m. Sagittarius rising, but I'm not going to split hairs on all that. But what I do want you to notice here on the 2nd, let me animate this. I think you can see it when I animate it. And if I go ahead, 1, 2, there's the 4th. You'll see, interesting that the suns don't quite line up here, on that day. It as we get that way, it's got a elliptical, a little bit off orbit. If you notice, like your own birthday, sometimes if you do a progress chart, it'll be like that. But this is the birthday United States. And what we have on this day, look, we've got, the sun's, of course, lining up. We have Venus is lining up. Mercury's lining up. No, wait, what did I do here? Oh, this just repeated, didn't it? Yeah, no, it didn't do what I wanted it to do. I'm sorry. Hold on. I don't want to do that. It didn't do it. I don't know why. I had this lined up for you. Bear with me. I don't want this one. Okay, I couldn't get it lined up how I wanted. I don't know why I can't do 2 animations at once, but I'll show that another time. But anyway, let's move on. You don't know sometimes things until you start to set them. It's like, why didn't that go? All right, so what do we got here now? Our new moon, we're seeing on Friday, we're closing in on our new moon in Cancer with Venus all nicey. That's the time of year where we can make these more familial or home-oriented new moon projects. Let's just put it that way. So, we've got a lot of water here, with all this in Cancer, and then we have all, the Saturn and Neptune still in Pisces. So we got a lot of emotions. So what I would say is we're kind of building up, to near the end of the week, much more emotional time, especially now, with the moon there, of course, in its own sign of Cancer. So we're just going to have more emphasis on feeling, maybe more like kind of, and then Mars wants to kind of hang with what's already been started. So feeling will kind of go with what's already in motion. It'll be easier to just keep that in. And the next day, our moon, let's see, we're still in the 6th Saturday, we're still in like emotional Cancer. The moon goes over Venus, and then it will move into into Leo Sunday. So then we can look forward to, that energy, that expansion, that maybe the moon will then add more voice to the mercurial Leo, being on stage, speaking your piece, saying the right thing, saying something with passion. Here we still have all this water energy, but yet the moon now is got some gumption to it and is going to join a think feel with this Leo energy, coming from the heart. That's like the best way of resolving a lot of things that might come up and happen, is just coming, right from your heart with feeling and love, and positively direct the emotion. Don't get sucked up into being sappy or having too emotional of a roller coaster, keeping this emotional center, while you're still able to think through things. Coming into next week, where's Venus? When we get, where is it? What else did I want to show you? All right, so Venus is moving out of Cancer here. And as it does, it's going to make a trine over to Neptune, right? You can see that it's coming into that. I'm just going to click a little bit ahead because it sometimes leaves us hanging. I just want you to see a couple things, and then I want to show you the Mars thing coming up, which we'll focus more on next week. But we got to give the heads up. We're rounding it out. All right, so here we go. There it is, Venus. Next Wednesday, look at 28 degrees. It's coming into 29 degrees. It's coming into that trine here before it goes into 0, and then it will oppose Pluto. So, we have these interesting things happening, right? Okay, so see this 29 of a water sign making a aspect over here, 29 of a water sign. So that is our trine. And then we go the next day, we see that it's in Leo here, it's moved 1 degree, and then it opposes Pluto. It's in Aquarius, 1 degree. So interesting. What a difference a day makes. So I just want to share a couple of things. Now, we've talked about this day here, the 11th, like the 11th and 12th. We could see the sun at 19 degrees, making a trine also on the 11th over to Saturn. But this is the day that we have the first square of the degree of the April eclipse. It was at 19 Aries. So I think this is going to be a fortuitous day. I think this is going to be kind of a very interesting day. I think this is on a lot of levels, but just one thing that comes to mind is I think this is the sentencing day for Donald Trump, when he's supposed to be going through that. And now we talked about all this Pluto, Mercury, Leo energy, so this is going to be I think, a pretty interesting day. And then with that, he has Leo rising at 29 degrees, right? So that is going to be dovetailing in with this 29 here. I wish I can flip over to his chart, but I'm not going to bore you with all that. But it's just interesting to watch and look at the degrees, whether you like them or not. There's things there, and you can see these degree patterns pop out. This is what I'm trying to get you to look at. Some of this stuff popping out. So here we had Venus. Was the one at the 19 here with Saturn, and then now we have the sun. So the sun is going to make that. It's making its little trip to, or a little trine to Saturn, and then it'll make as it goes on, and then when the sun gets into 29 degrees, it'll make its trine to Neptune, and then it will oppose Pluto. It'll go through that same thing. See, Mercury already did it, that same pattern. Then Venus is, and then the sun is. You see that those patterns. Okay, last thing. Okay, so we have that, the 11th, but then here on, let's look at Mars. All right, so next Sunday, the 14th, and then Monday, there it is. Monday, the 15th, and then it passes it. But that I would give it a good day there. So there it is. I'm going to cross off that day. Really, I think it's going to be interesting. That is just radical energy. This is explosive. This is a day to watch. This is one of those other weird days to watch. So I just want to give you the heads up a little bit ahead so you can see planetary energies and actions. There's so much. I mean, I can go into deeper, but I think I've kind of belabored it, and it gets too convoluted when you have too many things. So just recap, we've got Moon starting out in Taurus, and it moves, into Gemini and Cancer and Leo. So we have that springtime, early summer kind of energy with the moon, those signs, or I should say the northern hemisphere signs, this week. And then we have a lot of planets slowing down. So get ready to just go back over things, put things into more concrete, time to clean the house, get rid of stuff. This is this retrograde energy that we're coming into. Put things in place, go over stuff that wasn't done right, and just make things more better, make things more neat, more organized, more accessible, more, it's nice when you know where things are. It's nice when, you say, where's the, honey, where's the blah, blah? Oh, it's right there. Everything's got to have its home and its place. And when the energy slows down, we have a chance to go put more order in things in places that we don't have time when the energies are a lot faster. Hope that makes sense. All right. Thank you for listening. My screen sharing is paused. I hope you saw that. Okay. I think you were all good. All right. I had a little weird with this technical screen sharing, but I will show you some more. I want to show you the United States. I might just do a separate video on that one. I think I will. All right. Thank you for watching and listening. Talk to you next week. Bye for now.